Tips to improve your memory. Technology helps us a lot, but it's also made our brains more lazy. After all, we no longer try to remember something, we simply look it up on the internet. If we add to that the excess of information from all media and our agendas full of obligations, it's easy to understand why we forget things. In the following article, we'll tell you how to improve your memory through exercises and new healthy habits. The process of improving your memory. Just as the brain forgets many things, it can also recover in a short time. This means that you can have greater mental capacity by starting with certain techniques or tricks improving your memory. In reality, we all have the ability to remember things, but the problem is that our minds have become used to less effort. Not paying attention, reading only superficially, thinking about something else, not reflecting, and they are all enemies of good memory. We also have to add that when we want to remember something and we don't manage to, we get stressed. For that reason, it's difficult for us to find the word, fact or date that we have stored in the deepest part of our memory. On the other hand, we have to acknowledge that we often don't allow our brains to think, reason, or remember on its own. We don't allow it to rest properly, nor do we give it adequate time to take in important information. How to improve your memory. Luminous posters, TV ads, social networks, internet searches, and all of these attack the powers of the brain. Therefore, if you want to have a great memory, you must put the following techniques into practice. Reconstruct facts. Sure, it's probably happened more than once that you forgot where you left the keys. You spent hours turning things over without any results. A good way of not forgetting where you left them is obviously to choose a place where you always put them, but if not, you can use the reconstruction of facts technique. This means that you should take a few minutes to remember what you've done since you got home, what you had in your hands, where you left other objects, what were you doing the last time you saw the keys, etc. Suddenly, you will picture the place where you left them. Use mnemonic devices. Perhaps when you were in school the teachers taught you how to remember formulas, facts, or dates using so-called mnemonic devices. These allow us to relate information to short phrases or strings of words. This way, a lot of information is compressed and can be accessed more easily. In effect, they serve to retain this information without having to repeat it all like a parrot. Best of all, these concepts won't be easily forgotten, even if years have passed. One of the best known examples is my very easy method just speeds up naming planets. The first letter of each word evokes a planet of the solar system and its order from the Sun, Mercury, Venus, Earth, Mars, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. Of course, you can use mnemonic rules, however you like, with words or personal phrases. This may include the initials of family members' names, anniversaries, a character that you liked in childhood, etc. Read out loud. Often, when you explain something to another person, the concepts are fixed better. As well as improving your understanding by putting something you've studied into words, the fact that the brain listens to the information helps you retain it. Therefore, it's important to read out loud when you study or when you want something to remain engraved in your mind. Not only that, it's also be good to read printed books or papers like in the old days. Screens inhibit understanding and the light they emit causes a headache. Rest and relax. This technique for a great memory is based on the fact that the mind needs to solidify concepts when it's not paying attention to something else. After spending a morning studying, you go to the cinema, watch the news, or browse on Facebook, you probably won't remember the information that you've just learned. Therefore, we recommended you take a good nap after a bombardment of information, if you want to avoid forgetting it, of course. Also, you can take a walk in the park, exercise, take a hot shower, or listen to classical music. This way, your mind will have nothing to distract itself. Change your routine. The brain needs new habits and adventures. Monotony makes it even more lazy and restless. If you want to remember something and have a great memory, you should change some of your daily activities or at least do them in a different order. New changes increase your mental capacity, since the mind has to pay attention to something that it didn't know or is not used to. Don't forget that the mind is very curious and it likes challenges. It's within all of us to provide the ingredients it needs to be more efficient and stop forgetting things.